It started like any other sunny Thursday morning on The View. The audience was buzzing, the coffee mugs were lined up neatly on the host's table, and the day's special guest was none other than Hollywood heavyweight Mark Wahlberg. Producers had been hyping this interview for weeks. Mark was there to promote his latest action drama, a film he claimed was the most personal project of his career. Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Alyssa Farah Griffin sat in their usual spots, ready to dive into a mix of movie talk, politics, and lighthearted banter. At least, that was the plan. From the moment Mark walked onto the set, the energy felt tense. He was smiling, but not warmly. It was the kind of polite smile that hides an undercurrent of irritation. Whoopi greeted him with her usual flair, saying, "Mark Wahlberg, everybody." From Boston to Hollywood, and still causing trouble. The audience laughed, but Mark's chuckle was clipped. The conversation started harmlessly enough. They discussed his movie, his fitness routine, and his family. But then, Whoopi brought up something that would light the fuse. "Greater than, you've had a long career, Mark," she began. "But you've also had some controversial moments. Do you think your past still affects the way people see you today?" Mark shifted in his chair, his jaw tightening. "Well, Whoopi, I've owned up to my mistakes. I've moved on. I'm not here to rehash old stories for ratings." The audience gave a small, ooh, sound. Whoopi's eyebrows shot up. "It's not about ratings, it's about accountability. You're promoting a movie about redemption. Isn't that the same conversation?" Mark leaned forward, his voice sharper now. "Redemption is about growth. It's not about people like you trying to drag me back into things I've already addressed." The air grew heavy. Sunny Hostin attempted to change the subject, but Whoopi wasn't done. "Mark, with all due respect, part of being a public figure is answering the tough questions. If you can't do that." That's when Mark cut her off. "And with all due respect, maybe if your show focused less on stirring up drama and more on actual conversation, we wouldn't be having this problem." Gasps erupted from the crowd. Joy Behar smirked, clearly enjoying the tension. Alyssa looked like she wanted to crawl under the table. Whoopi leaned back, her voice calm but icy. "You came here, Mark. We didn't drag you. If you don't like the questions, maybe you're in the wrong chair." Mark paused for a long second, glaring at her. Then he pushed back from the table, took off his mic, and stood up. "Greater than, you're right, Whoopi. I am in the wrong chair." With that, he walked off stage, leaving the host stunned and the audience in shocked silence. Cameras quickly cut to commercial, but social media had already exploded. Clips of the confrontation were being posted within minutes. By the time the show returned, Whoopi simply said, "Well, that happened," before moving on to the next segment. But the drama was only getting started. When The View cut to commercial after Mark Wahlberg's abrupt exit, the studio was in chaos. Audience members whispered furiously, some pulling out their phones to capture the host's hushed conversation. Backstage, producers scrambled to figure out whether they could coax Mark back for a calmer second half, or at least get him to do the standard photo op for social media. They never got the chance. By the time the segment was over, Mark was already in the backseat of a black SUV, heading straight for the airport. He didn't speak to the press camped outside the studio, but his tight-lipped expression said enough. The man was done. Social media erupts. Within 10 minutes, Mark Wahlberg and Whoopi Goldberg were trending worldwide. Clips of the tense exchange flooded X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Some fans sided with Mark, praising him for not taking disrespect from daytime TV hosts. Others accused him of being thin-skinned, pointing out that Whoopi had simply asked a question relevant to his film's redemption theme. One viral tweet read, "Greater than, Whoopi asks about redemption, Mark proves he still needs it." Meanwhile, another defended him. Greater than, Mark Wahlberg walked off The View and took the last ounce of authenticity with him. Behind the scenes at The View. According to an anonymous staffer who later spoke to a celebrity gossip blog, tensions had been brewing before the cameras even rolled. Mark reportedly didn't like the pre-interview questions and told producers he wouldn't discuss certain parts of his past. "The thing is," the staffer said, on The View, "if Whoopi thinks a topic is important, she'll bring it up, no matter what the guest says beforehand." When Whoopi challenged him on air, the source claimed, "That was the exact red button he told us not to push." Mark's response, Later that afternoon, Mark broke his silence on Instagram with a short video filmed in what appeared to be a private jet cabin. Wearing a baseball cap and a black hoodie, he looked calm but firm. I've done a lot of interviews in my career, he said. Most are respectful, even when the questions are tough. Today wasn't one of those days. I don't believe in letting people frame my story the wrong way. I walked away because I refused to play that game. The post racked up over 1.5 million likes in under 3 hours. Whoopi's comeback. The next day on The View, Whoopi addressed the incident with her trademark mix of humor and defiance. "Listen," she said, "sometimes guests get upset. Sometimes they leave. It happens. I've been doing this a long time, and I don't take it personally. But this is The View, not the Agree. If you sit at this table, we're gonna ask questions, tough ones." Her co-hosts nodded, though Joy Behar couldn't resist adding, "Next time we have him on, maybe we'll just ask about his favorite sandwich." The audience laughed, but the tension was still palpable. Industry reactions. By week's end, entertainment outlets were debating whether the incident was genuine or a calculated PR stunt. Some publicists suggested it could even boost ticket sales for Mark's film. Others warned that storming off a major talk show can leave a lasting negative impression. One Hollywood insider told Variety, "Mark's got a loyal fanbase, so this probably won't hurt him too much. But producers talk, and if they think you're unpredictable, they might think twice before booking you." The long shadow. In the weeks that followed, both Mark and Whoopi continued with their careers as if nothing had happened. But the clip of their fiery exchange lived on, racking up millions of views across platforms. Some fans replayed it for the drama, others for the lesson. Even the most seasoned stars can lose their cool when the right button is pushed. And for The View, it was another unforgettable moment in the show's long history of unscripted fireworks, a reminder that live TV can still shock, even in the age of endless online content.